Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm finally ready to do a full review of the GoPro Max. I've had the camera for about a month now. I've been shooting with it a lot and I've enjoyed it for the most part, but now I think I'm ready to do a full review. I'm going to go through everything there is to know about this camera, my experience with it, the pros, the cons, whether I think it's worth buying, and yeah, I'm going to show you lots of video and lots of photos, so hopefully you should have a pretty good idea by the end of this review whether it is the camera for you. So yeah, I'm ready, you're ready, let's get going. So the GoPro Max is a dual lens 360 camera. It can shoot 5.6K 30 frames per second 360 video, and it can shoot 1440p at 60 frames per second or 30 frames per second in hero mode. It has a photo resolution of 16.6 megapixels. It features hyper smooth stabilization. It has time-lapse mode, time warp mode, slow motion, a power pano mode, which is kind of like a panorama that you'd use with your phone. I'll show you some in a minute. It features 6 microphones for ambisonic audio. It's fully waterproof to 5 meters and features a rugged design. So it's, well, like most GoPros, quite well protected against the elements and against any kind of scrapes and bumps. If you drop it, it shouldn't break instantly. It also features voice control, Wi-Fi, GPS, and it can take a 256GB SD card. Let's first take a look at the video because this is first and foremost a video camera. So let's take a look at 360 video first because it is a 360 video. It's got these two lenses right here, can shoot full 360, 5.6K video, and I think it is the best 360 camera for video quality out right now. The lenses are higher quality than other 360 cameras that I have used. The bitrate is quite high. It shoots in this H.265 codec, which makes is much more compact. The dynamic range, the low light performance, basically everything about the video is better than any other camera that I've used under $1,000 or £1,000. So for video quality, I think it's the best out right now. Whether it stays that way remains to be seen. I guess we'll see in the near future. There are some competitors coming out, but as of right now, I think the GoPro Max shoots the highest quality 360 video. If you take a look at some of my examples, in daytime, in low light, in dusk, it retains details. It's not noisy. It looks like what it looks like in reality. So in various conditions that I've shot it at, it's always come out looking good. Also, first and foremost, this camera is not really meant for like VRs. Obviously, you can use these kind of videos in a VR headset and watch them like that, but the camera is mostly designed for reframing. So you take this 360 video and you kind of can choose where it looks, where it goes, where it points. So it's kind of like a shoot first, point later setup, and it's really easy to do that. I'm going to show you how that's accomplished using the app. But in terms of how that looks, it's I'll be reframed down to a 1080p from 5.6K when you do this, and it looks good. Other cameras can do this, and that is what 360 cameras are kind of meant for these days rather than for VR. Obviously you can do that, but I personally think that's the direction things are going in. And the quality, again, of these reframe videos, I think they're higher quality than any other 360 camera that can do that right now. So yes, if you're looking for something for Instagram, I mean, these are perfect for Instagram and Facebook. So these kind of videos are going to look better quality than any other camera that you've used so far. Of this now, the downside of the 360 video is that there's no 60 frames per second. There's not even kind of like a 4K option to shoot at a high frame rate. There's no slow motion, so you are limited to this one resolution and one frame rate, which I think is a shame. Other cameras can have more options. They do have more options. However, a software update could easily be coming that could add that in the future. Other cameras have added more frame rates and more video options later down the line, so I'm hoping that happens, but I can't promise it right now. However, the GoPro Max has another mode that you can shoot in. It's called Hero Mode. Now, basically, Hero Mode uses one of the lenses. It can use either one of the lenses in the camera to just shoot normal normal video like you would see in a normal GoPro camera. So it shoots either 1080p or 1440p, and it can go up to 60 frames per second. So this basically makes the GoPro Max a 2-in-1 camera. It makes it a GoPro Hero camera and a 360 camera in one. So you can choose between those modes very quickly, and that allows you to combine, you know, you don't necessarily always want to shoot in 360. Maybe you just want to shoot like a normal camera, like your phone, like a normal GoPro Hero. So that's what this mode does, and it gives you some more options. It allows you, again, to shoot 60 frames per second, so you do have the option for slow motion, and also that 60 frames per second works better in low light conditions and in indoors. However, the video quality is not quite as good. There is no 4K, there's no 5K, it's limited to 1440p or 1080p. So for some, that might not be enough. You will notice the lower quality. It doesn't work quite well in low lights. It's just like not particularly sharp. But for viewing it on a phone screen, for viewing it like most people are going to on Instagram or Facebook, it's still high enough quality to look good. And the final mode available to the GoPro Max is time warp or time-lapse mode. Now you can either use this mode using both lenses, so shooting a time-lapse in 360, or you can just use the one lens in hero mode using time-lapse. Now they call it time-lapse, time warp. I think time-lapse is supposed to be if the camera is standing still and there's, you can record a time-lapse like you would. And time warp is supposed to be used for movement, so it will record a moving time lapse, and thanks to the stabilization, it will be super smooth, and you can kind of manipulate it to have some very cool effects. I think this is the coolest mode to use. I use it quite a lot, as you can see here. It's really easy to accomplish. You don't need any special equipment. You just need to walk around with the camera. And if you're going to use hero mode with time lapse, you just need to point the camera forward, walk forward, keep the camera pointing in one direction, and it will stabilize it. It looks really good. It's really easy to do. Let's talk about stabilization, because that is a very important aspect of any 360 camera, especially if it's meant to be used as an action camera, which the GoPro Max certainly is. Now, stabilization has come a long way in the past few years. Other cameras like the Insta360 One X and the Rilo, and even the last version of this, the GoPro Fusion, had excellent stabilization. 360 cameras are especially well built to stabilize video because there are so many pixels available for it to manipulate. The stabilization in this camera is called Hypersmooth 2.0, so that's the second generation of their software stabilization, and I can tell you it does work very well. About the same as all the other cameras that I've just mentioned, like the One X and the Rilo. They all use a similar kind of software. You're not going to notice a huge difference. But I will say first and foremost that I can see it works very well. I've tried it myself just by walking, running, going on a bike. Now, unfortunately, I live in a big city, London, and there aren't very many opportunities to really test the stabilization like it's supposed to be. People go jet skiing, skateboarding, skydiving, stuff like that. I'm not that kind of guy anyway, and there's just not really that many options available. However, there are many people out there who do this kind of stuff, and they have been using the GoPro Max to film these sports footage and, action stunts and all that kind of stuff. And they have kindly allowed me to show you their footage here. I have obviously asked for this footage. I've not just taken it, and I'm crediting them. Their Instagrams will be in the description below if you want to see more of their stuff. As you can see here, the GoPro Max doing a good job stabilizing footage on skateboards, on surfboards, on mountain bikes, stuff like that. That's what this camera is mostly supposed to be used for. That's what it's good for. The one place where I'll say the stabilization will not work as well is in low light conditions. If you're going to be running, even walking when it's dark, the stabilization will kind of make everything a little bit shaky. So yes, all in all, great camera for video, great action camera. There are some issues with how you can control it. I would like there to be more manual controls, but for now, I am willing to forego that. And I'm hoping that a future software update does add those options in. But in terms of raw video quality, it's really good. Now the camera can also shoot photos, obviously, also using 360 mode and hero mode, so either 360 photos or just a normal photo. However, unfortunately, the photo capabilities are not nearly as good as the video capabilities of this camera. It's very basic in terms of photos. It can shoot 360 photos. I mean, they look good. Again, the lens quality is good, so it works well in low light. It's fairly attractive. The resolution is not stellar at 16.6 megapixels. There are certainly other cameras that can shoot higher quality photos, mostly because of that resolution. I will admit that viewed on a phone screen, that won't matter as much, but if you want anything to view on a larger screen, you're going to notice some pixelation. There's also no HDR mode, which is a big shame. That would massively improve the video quality. And there's also no RAW mode. Lots of cameras now, lots of 360 cameras can shoot in RAW, and that just allows the huge improvement in quality if you're willing to edit that. If you were looking for specifically a photo camera for 360 photos, then this is not the one to get. This is definitely geared so much more towards video. One thing that I do like about this camera when it comes to photos is the power pano mode. Now, these are basically panoramas shot with one shot. You don't need to stitch them together. You don't need to move the camera. It just shoots a very wide angle panorama in a single shot. It's kind of like, when you have your phone and you shoot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it kind of stitches it together. And it always looks a bit weird because it never does it right. This mode, Power Pano mode, does something similar to that. However, it always succeeds because it doesn't need to stitch anything. It's a cool thing to have. I've shown some on Instagram and people have liked them, and they work well on Facebook. So yeah, that's a cool mode to have, and no other camera can do that right now. Now, one of the massive pros of this camera that, again, not any other 360 camera has is the quality of the sound. The Max has 6 microphones, which is just crazy anyway. 6 microphones, can shoot ambisonic audio, which means 360 immersive audio, and that would sound great on a VR headset, but it's not the fact of how many microphones it has, it's how good it sounds. When GoPro announced the Max, they claimed that the audio would be as good as a shotgun mic. Now, I think I can, yeah, I think they've just about managed that. I mean, it wouldn't be the best shotgun mic in the world, but it's more than enough for vlogging. It sounds so much better than any other camera or 360 camera or any camera. Internals audio is usually awful. This is the first one I've used where I feel like I can just use the audio from the camera itself. It makes this an amazing camera for vlogging. Now, obviously you can shoot 360 with this. That makes vlogging really easy. You don't have to point the camera. You can be looking at multiple things at once. And the fact that you don't need any external audio equipment, because you can just speak into the camera itself, means that it's just easy. It means you don't have to sync up any audio. You don't need any extra audio equipment. I think this is probably the best 360 camera for vlogging. It's perhaps the best camera overall for vlogging just because of how many options you have. Now take a listen here of what it sounds like and a comparison between this and a rival 360 camera, and you'll see what I mean. Hey guys, I'm shooting this video with both the GoPro Max and the Insta360 One X. They're literally right next to each other, both on a selfie stick, both the same length away from me. And yeah, so you should be able to see the quality difference in video. I'm shooting both in the maximum resolution, 5.7K. And yeah, so let me know what you think. I'm also going to just keep the sound from both of these so we can tell the difference between the sound. The GoPro Max is actually the best designed 360 camera I've ever had for one reason only: this screen right here. The screen makes this camera so easy to use. Other 360 cameras, virtually all of them, don't have a screen. It means you have to either connect it manually via a Wi-Fi connection, change settings on your phone, or you have to just use a few buttons, and it just is very user-friendly. It means you don't have access to all the options. However, with this screen, you have access to every option straight away. Extremely easy to use, extremely easy to navigate the menu system, and it's very touch responsive. So I'm just clicking randomly here, but as you can see, it's as good as a phone, very quick, very easy to use. So yes, this is the main reason why this camera is the most user-friendly one I've used. And in general, the camera is very well designed. It's extremely rugged. You can probably see a few bumps and scrapes because I've been using it for a month now, but there is no real damage. This is a kind of rubber silicone, I'm not even sure how to describe it, like a case. It's soft, so it's not going to crack, it's not going to scratch. So yeah, it's a very good design. It's not going to break, it's not super fragile. It also comes with lens protectors. Here they are. So that's a very, very good idea because these lenses are quite vulnerable. So you just pop them on and it will protect the lenses when you're not using it. There are a few manual buttons for power, for changing modes, for the shutter right there. Otherwise, it's all done on the screen. And there's also a little tray here for the SD card and the battery. You can also take this door off and connect the Max to a power supply and just have it recording continuously. So that's an option as well. I mean, I've not done it because I've had no reason to as of yet. The only issue I would say with the design is how thick it is. As you can see here, it's quite a thick camera, thicker than most 360 cameras. Now, that is an issue only in terms of stitching. So because these two lenses are further apart than other cameras, that means it's going to have a slightly harder time stitching the two images that they shoot together in a more accurate way. Now, that's only an issue if you get very close to the camera. So if you are this close, it may show a stitching line, but if you're any further away, it will be fine. So just bear that in mind. It's not a huge issue. Now, so far in this review, I think you can agree that I've been quite positive about this camera, and you may think that I'm basically, you know, there is no problem with it, that I'm trying to sell it to you, that maybe I'm being a bit too positive. Now, that's going to change very rapidly now, because we're going to talk about the software and how that has been handled, and unfortunately, not very well. So, the GoPro Max comes with an app, which is actually really easy to use when it comes to reframing and to with working with the video and changing it, a 360 video, into a reframe video. I have a whole other YouTube video made about 3 weeks ago of how to do that, so I'm not going to go into it too much. I will link to that video, but basically it's really easy to change a 360 video into a 1080p, make it really, really smooth, really cinematic, loads of options available, and loads of video modes. You can automatically create video just using AI. I actually think the app has so much potential. It's like 70% of the way there. What it can do is beyond what any other one can do. However, there are just too many bugs. For example, I have two phones, and they're Android phones. The GoPro Max has just not been designed to work well with Android right now. They say that they're updating it soon and that it will be fine, but especially Android 10 with the latest operating system, it seems to be really buggy and is just not working as well as it should. iPhone users don't have to worry, it works perfect. I've never seen someone complain about it. Also, if you use Windows, not everything is available right now. There is no Windows editing software. There is only a Windows exporter. So yeah, when it comes to that software, it's basically not ready. There's going to be updates and there's going to be new releases. But yeah, if you're using Android and Windows, you're going to notice some things are missing. So yeah, guys, that is pretty much the main issue with this camera by far, is the software. I will say that when the app does work, if you have a phone that it works in, and the stuff that is available, like this automatic video mode, I think is really impressive. It can make some really, really cool videos using its own music, using its own keyframes, using its own cutscenes in video modes, and even cinematic modes. Not very many other companies or cameras have such a powerful app to go with the camera itself. So I will say that it is really, it's got so much potential. It's just not quite there yet because it doesn't work all the time. Some of the features are missing that are available for Apple, not available for Android. Even if they are coming, you know, if GoPro says that these features are coming, it's just such a shame they were not available straight away. You would expect them to be if they are promised to you. So I can understand people's frustration. But apart from that, I think it's an amazing value camera just for what you get in terms of video quality, in terms of video modes. Yes, the app and the software isn't great. It's not working as well as it should, and there's not as many features available. But when it does work, and what is available right now is really good. It's one of the more expensive 360 cameras. However, you have to consider that it's waterproof, so you don't need to buy an extra waterproof case. And it also comes with an SD card depending where you buy it. So if you add those two things together, it basically works out a similar price to other 360 cameras. And remember, you get basically two cameras in one with that hero mode and 360 mode. So that for me is why I like this camera. Right now, I would give this maybe a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. However, I think it has the potential to be a 9 out of 10 if they get all of the features added and get the software working. I think it has great potential, and it will definitely last you at least a year and a half, until maybe another version will come out or maybe another camera. Now, as for competitors, I mentioned the Insta360 ONE X. I did a comparison between these two cameras, this camera and that one, previously in a different video. You can check that out. I find this one to be more future-proof because it just has more features available right now in terms of what's upcoming. You know, it's got high video quality, it's got better sound, all that kind of stuff. However, the ONE X has had a year or just over a year to add a lot more features. So yeah, guys, that's it. That is my GoPro Max review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, feel free to message me. Check out my website. In the description, there is a full written review with all the specs and loads of photos and videos posted there, so if you want to see a more in-depth review, check that out. And also check out my Instagram. It's going to be around here somewhere. You can see some GoPro footage, GoPro Max footage on there, as well as some other stuff. Also subscribe, because obviously I'm getting this Kucam 8K. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos with this. Going to be go traveling with it, trying to shoot as good video as I can, and you'll see a lot more coming from that. So yeah, subscribe if you're into that. But I guess that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you have found it useful. And yeah, I guess until next time, I will see you around. Bye.